Bill Harrigan, referee of this one. Round 7 clash, 16 internationals across the two teams. Darren Lockyer gets us underway. The Broncos left to right on your screens for the first half. And back comes David Fairley and driven back by Shane Webke. First tackle of the match. Soden away with Larson. Not unlike the New Zealand defence from the second half, the tackle on Larson. There were 3 there. There appears to be an injury too to Darren Smith.
Well, quite amazingly, he looks like he's picked up a neck problem as well. Talking about the test, that's what we saw happen to John Lomax, a similar kind of tackle, but fortunately for the Broncos, Smith coming back into the defensive line, but they've run straight at him with Adam Muir. Good play from the Bears.
Over their 30-metre line now. Soden is the last tackle, kicking from inside the 40. That one is almost over the head of Lockyer, so a confidence booster for him. He runs back from the 10-metre line. Confronted now by a wall of North Sydney defenders. Taylor was there first. And now Walters. Onside shot there for Hancock. Good take from Lockyer.
Well, you hope he has a blinder, don't you? And I've got a feeling that he will play an instrumental role today as Gordon Tallis shows brute strength to take it over the halfway line.
Big run from Tallis. Trindall was called in as a third man in the tackle. Now Webke. They come up. Wrap the ball up, Muir. Alongside him was Larson. Shuddering defence early in this match. Langer pushing across for Walters. Now back on the last tackle with Langer providing the kick for the wing of Nigel Roy. It bounces awkwardly and loses it. So the error from Nigel Roy. Brisbane will have a scrum feed inside the Bears 20.
A lack of communication there from Brisbane ended up being a good thing for them. Langer's kick, a tough one for Nigel Roy to handle, although he had a good play at the ball. A little bit of a mix-up from dummy half. They found Gordon Tallis on the last, but he had the presence of mind to get it to the kicker.
These two sides at the top of the attacking table. In terms of tries scored, they are first and second. Brisbane have scored 31 tries, North Sydney 27 in 6 rounds. As now Renoff gets his first touch of the ball. It's the attacking rankings of Brisbane and the Bears. Right now, dangerous tackle there, flipped over. Muir and Trindall are involved on the tackle on Brad Thorne. Nothing more than a caution from Bill Harrigan, no report. He was the man underneath. He did release, but all the same.
I think Adam Muir is very, very fortunate. I know that there was another player in there, but Muir is the man that gets his arm between the legs and provides the momentum for Thorne to go that way.
So Lockyer has a chance with this kick. The last game here at ANZ Stadium, he kicked 9 from 10 against the North Queensland Cowboys in round 5. Closing in on 300 career points. He should reach that tally today. Lockyer from 10 metres out, and first points to Brisbane. So 2-0 the scoreline. We'll wait to see what reaction there is to Adam Muir maybe later in the week. The tackle on Brad Thorne. Big restart from North Sydney. Jason Taylor very deep. He will find the dead ball line. No, he won't. Well, it pulled up, and Langer is the man back there. Now for Hancock. Good tactics from North Sydney. They almost had the Broncos on the hop. Now Saylor. Really Alfie back there. He got the bounce he was hoping for. Now in the meantime, there's been an error from Brisbane, from Wendell Saylor.
I thought he had a bit of help there. Fortunate penalty for the Bears. One handling error each, and you do not get a better attacking position than this, than a midfield scrum, only 15 out.
Like the left side of the scrum. They go the blind no with Florimo. Stand up, went off 10 metres out from the Brisbane line. Big chance for North Sydney with Horder. Florimo just a little wounded after the previous tackle. A loose ball behind the back with both Taylor and Moore, and Brisbane. Will they come up with it? No. North Sydney have it. Sears got to the loose ball, now Muir. He's lost the ball. Well, that was one-on-one when the ball was stripped. Two men came in after, but he'd already lost the football.
Great work there from Kevin Walters. Perfect example of how to strip a ball one-on-one. Played at it deliberately and let off there for the Broncos. Scrappy play on a couple of counts from North. Oh, nice shot there on Tony Carroll.
There's more coming over the top, the left arm, and he makes a double. And 5 metres inside their own half. Leading by 2 points to nil. Langer firing that pass for Lockyer. The left boot. He's made 45 with a kick, but straight to Wade Horder. This young man who's awaiting the return of Brett Dallas. He's made a good fist of first grade, Wade Horder. And North's away from their own 20-metre zone with Fairley. They come up quickly and drive him sideways. Petro Sivanasiva over the top. He's the young man in 18. Played some first grade last year in the World Club Challenge. Now with Soden. Back to the open side. Muir running at Langer. Able to keep the ball going. Sears and then across with Taylor. Now Eichen. Eichen short pass for Florimo, running a straight line to the halfway mark. Larson. 5 metres on that hit up. Last tackle it is with North Sydney. Then we look for Taylor, although it's Soden who provides the kick. Winger was up in the line. That was Michael Hancock. And Soden finds touch with a kick.
And that's something that he's been able to do over the last couple of weeks. Soden out of dummy half. He came up with a couple of very impressive ones last week round, but whilst it was a very good kick for North Sydney, I'm sure that Wayne Bennett will want to remind his troops that that's something that he's been working on all week long, making sure that they try and null the effectiveness out of that kick out of dummy half. They're going to try and make sure the ball gets back to the dummy half, out of dummy half, I'm sorry, a little bit quicker, and trying to get Jason Taylor's kick knocked down as quickly as possible.
Lee Lewis along with Peter Sterling in the commentary box today. Brisbane with the scrum win. Kevin Walters along with Renoff stepping into the tackle. Morimo was there with Ben Eichen. Now Saylor. Eichen and Walters, the showdown for the Queensland 5'8 today. Ben Eichen had one blemish on his copybook last week in defence, a missed tackle that led to an Auckland try. That was late in the game. But a big game here, and he really puts his hand up. Walters, quick hands for Tallis on the 30-metre line. He was able to offload. In turn, it's been lost.
Hang on,
Walters getting to the loose ball.
Hey.
I think Brisbane are claiming that their outside support player was interfered with. Gordon Tallis again breaking the line. And Darren Lockyer was the man that he felt was impeded. Pass eventually going astray. And we're going to see a penalty going Brisbane's way.
There's Eichen on Lockyer. The man who finds the line. So Brisbane just allowed to get a bit of a roll on here. And Webke it is, who takes them inside Bears territory. So many players considered unlucky for that test match on Friday night, which is a healthy position. Webke was one. And 35 metres out from the Bears line. Comes across with Langer. Then along for Walters. They keep it going with Tony Carroll. Wrapped up by Taylor. And then for Smith. Recovered from an earlier knock. Moore went low on the tackle. Good one it was from Billy Moore. Walters at first receiver. Langer goes outside of his 5'8", and then the big charge. Front on from Larson. On Webke. Fires up the crowd. Last tackle with Langer. The short kick from Alfie Langer. He stumbled on the way through. Sears did likewise and somehow was able to pull that ball in.
And Langer looks as though he's picked up an arm injury in that incident. That was a beauty. Gary Larson on Shane Webke. You don't see him on his backside too often. Let's just have a look here what happens to Alan Langer. Copped a bit of a trip on the way through, and I think he's hurt his arm in that incident.
Penalty to North Sydney, just short of the 40-metre line. To the sideline we go.
Yeah, we're talking about rep players just a little bit earlier. I thought Gordon Tallis was really unlucky not to make that Australian side. He'll be hell-bent. Let's not forget that he had a year off last season, and his combination now with Kevin Walters will really break up this match for the Broncos.
Start Soden with Taylor. Then up for Trendall. Sivanasiva tried a shoulder charge over the top. Most of the defensive work in the tackle done by Thorne. Now Fairley. Plenty of hit-ups early for David Fairley.
So
It was taken away. Well, Tallis came in with a flop.
It's a cheap shot, swinging arm, he's on the ground to flop. Penalties against him.
That's the way Bill Harrigan has seen it. I've witnessed worse than that, but
well, as long as the referees are consistent with that, I agree that sometimes there are players that get involved in tackles when it's not necessarily being completed. And I'm not sure whether the referee has got him for an indiscretion with the right swinging arm or getting involved when the tackle had been completed. But he's got every right to come in, just not in that fashion.
Yeah, Sterlo's hit the nail on the head there, as long as they stay consistent throughout the match. But it really does look like early in this contest that the pride of representative selection is playing a huge part in this game. You have a look at the guys that have been performing. Darren Smith, Brad Thorne, Gordon Tallis, Fairley, Muir, Billy Moore and Larson. They've been the ones that have really taken the bull by the horn so far.
Taylor has this kick. 81% success rate. 68 points for the year for Jason Taylor. As we mentioned, 24 points last week. 35 metres out. Taylor levels the scores. And 2-2 it is here at ANZ Stadium, the Broncos and the Bears. Back with the action. Lockyer kicking deep at 2-2. These two sides last played in the final series of 1996 at Suncorp Stadium. It was a win to North Sydney, 21-16. And now the Bears have made an error inside their half.
Well, I think Ben Ikin would have got away with this if he hadn't have tried to get control of it after he had lost it. If he'd have just played on, he lost it there, stood up and appealed. I'm not quite sure whether the referee picked it up. Maybe the touch judge would have helped, but it's a poor mistake as Brisbane win the scrum. Wallace throws the dummy, finds Carroll.
25 metres out from the Bears line. Full set of 6 to work with. Ball is up for Smith. Then on for Lockyer. And that is a tie to Brisbane. Smith to Lockyer. And the young man bounces straight back. 6-2 to Brisbane.
And plenty of congratulations all round. I'm sure that his teammates know what Darren Lockyer was going through coming into this game. And Ben Ikin here, in his attempt to get up and quickly play the football, just loses it cold. Straight away, instead of still hitting the ball up around the halfway area, a beautiful pass on to Darren Lockyer opened it up. And from only less than 20 metres out, they were never going to stop the flying fullback. Good ball from Darren Smith. He was the man.
He really made it tough in that decision, didn't it, for Greg Florimo? He was left with 2 men to make a decision. I think he given a chance again, he'd make the other one. Great pass, though, has opened up Brisbane with an opportunity, but I think it's going to be that case all afternoon long, isn't it? You give the opposition a chance, they're certainly going to cash in on it as much as they possibly can. Wonderful to see how this guy will take to the effect of Friday night's game. Confidence is a marvellous thing, but I'm sure that Wayne Bennett will have spent a lot of time with him since Friday night, just making sure that he has that confidence level that he had prior to Friday night's disaster.
With his kick, Lockyer has taken it back some 26 metres. He's only 5 metres in from touch. The left boot of Darren Lockyer. This one is wide. So 6-2 the score. Broncos over the Bears.
Oh, he's level-headed, isn't he, this Darren Lockyer? Nothing really worries him. Comes in to make the extra man. Too much pace for Sears on the outside. Florimo just in 2 minds who to go for there. And that's the first try to the Broncos.
Just on that test match from Friday night. There were all sorts of reports about Robbie O'Davis, perhaps out for the season. Well, he's hopeful. He'll have a full medical check-up tomorrow, but he's hopeful that it will only be a matter of weeks before he returns.
Adam Muir again coming up against Shane Webke, and on this occasion the North back rower, second best.
Watch it again, Webke. And reeling out of it was Adam Muir. For the Broncos, Sivanasiva. 15 inside their own half. Plath takes off. Larson looked to be offside and is called offside. Great work, John Plath.
Very clever play, Johnny Plath. He's becoming a specialist dummy half runner these days. Wasn't always a hooker. He plays that role pretty well now, and he not only got a penalty for his side there, but he was picking up important metres by running at the right time. Only one marker.
And another chance for Brisbane inside the Bears' danger zone, if you like. Langer, Sivanasiva. A little shuffle on as he gets to the defensive line. Now 15 metres out. Plath across with Langer. The show of the ball from Walters. He got through the first line, through the second. Walters back to Tallis, and another Broncos try. Oh, they're hot. They are hot, the Brisbane Broncos. 10 points to 2.
Well, they're giving them the opportunities to be hot, the Bears, with some slack defence and some indiscretions. Again, they got good field position because of that penalty awarded their way. Kevin Walters bamboozled a couple with the dummy, threw the tackle of Matt Sears and put it on a platter for Gordon Tallis. He won't score an easier one, but tremendous work from Kevin Walters. And as you pointed out, Andrew, in the back of his mind, his state of origin selection, and he's just showing what he is still capable of.
Pete, the real chance they're given to the Broncos, I mean, when they attack on the edge of the ruck, they have so many options available. It makes it difficult for opposing defensive lines. He could have gone to one of 3 players there, so North Sydney have just got to make sure that they match it for numbers.
I think the thing that North Sydney have to do is realise that the main danger is the man with the football. If you try and overread the likes of Langer and Kevin Walters, they're going to catch you up on their own. Darren Lockyer, an easier conversion attempt than the last one. He'll have learnt from that.
Brisbane looking to join Melbourne and also Newcastle at the top of the table. Melbourne with their win over Penrith yesterday. Newcastle today over Auckland are on 12 points. Here's Lockyer's kick. This time it is another 2. So Brisbane have really flown the lids here. 16 gone, it's 12-2 to Brisbane. Newcastle very impressive today in beating Auckland. There certainly was no follow-on from Friday night's test for the New Zealanders. They resume with Taylor's kick. Saylor back for Webke. Where's Adam Muir? Webke comes back to the 20-metre line. This time they get a hold on the Broncos prop. Just check of that score from Ericsson Stadium earlier today. 38-14 to the Knights. In total control after the first 40. We thought Matthew Gidley was outstanding for the Knights. Here's Thorne for Brisbane. Over the 40-metre line. Larson was there to wrap him up with Taylor. Real test of character for North Sydney now at 12-2. Broncos got a good drive on. They will need to score next though. Back to the blind side. Tallis, good attacking option for Brisbane. Renouf is almost in the clear. Last tackle, 30 metres out from the Bears line. Another chance to go the blind side. There was a call of kick it.
Knock on.
It ends up on the deck. Sears takes off, but there's a changeover for the knock on.
North, you'll take a changeover over there. 2 metres in.
Big stat that one for Brisbane. And they won't lose if that continues. Now up with Taylor. Along for Michael Butner. Picked up nicely there by Carroll. Nigel Roy. Carroll again in the tackle along with Sivanasiva. This is Muir. He's lost the ball in the tackle. Adam Muir. Play on for the Bears with Butner. And Sivanasiva is there with Smith. So they're on the hunt in defence as well, Brisbane. Now Fairley gets inside Brisbane's half, but that is 5 tackles used up. Looking for Taylor. Here he is. Gets a terrible pass. It'll be a changeover. This is North Sydney way out of character.
Sterlo, a very important point of the game here psychologically. If Brisbane can post the next try, it could open up a 16-point break. That's pretty tough to defend against.
Pressing forward. Josh Stewart now out there for North Sydney. He's on for Trindall. Smith, a lot of pressure on Stewart. Straight away in the defensive line, making that tackle. Defending the Bears line. A third try perhaps is looming. Langer. Keeping that defence guessing. Lockyer. Then for Carroll, and it took 2 to get him down. He was just revving up Tony Carroll. In away with Walters. I now notice Kevin Campion is out there for Brisbane. Thorne is tackled on the 10-metre line. Last it is. Langer on the left side of the ruck. Renouf is his man outside now with Steve Renouf. Renouf has cut straight through. Oh, the Bears are gone. 16-2.
It is one-way traffic, isn't it? And very rare to see Greg Florimo miss a tackle like this. But Steve Renouf, if he can get outside his man, he's always going to be almost unstoppable. The guys talked about nullifying North Sydney's kicking game. The Broncos need to do that. They did it on their own on that occasion. Poor pass from Mark Soden again gave Brisbane field position, and this pass, just a bad one-on-one miss from Greg Florimo. So strong, Steve Renouf.
He's pretty hungry at the moment, isn't he? He didn't have the best of evenings on Friday night. Give him chances like this so close to the line. You just can't afford to give them to him. He's going to make sure he cashes in on those for a certain probably 6-pointer.
Yeah, one of the important things about making tackles like that is to keep the head down, and on that occasion Greg Florimo had it right up in the air. Difficult to come up with the tackle in that circumstance. Darren Lockyer, he knows this pretty well. It's a fairly wide kick, but his last two have been pretty much the same kind of kick, same angle.
So Lockyer, this kick again from 5 in from touch. This one is across the face. Just pulling up Willie Kahn in the crowd for Brisbane. Watching on what has been a very impressive performance so far.
Well, I think Norths are quite struggling with the speed of the game. The Brisbane side look far too quick. Florimo lets Renouf get on the outside of him. That's the big mistake, and there's the try. Now we'll see how much bottle North Sydney have got to come back into this game. 16 points to 2.
Good battle too at the top of the try scorers list at the moment, with Steve Renouf and Alan Langer. Renouf edges one ahead. 8 tries to Renouf, 7 to Langer as Sailor driven back by Fairley.
And of course Alan Langer one short of scoring a century of tries. On 99 at the moment. I think he'd be quite happy just to make sure that the blokes outside him kept scoring. Records like that not foremost in his mind, that's for sure.
That's in all games for Alan Langer, not necessarily just premiership matches, as now Carroll to halfway. Well, the Broncos this last 5-10 minutes. Campion gets his first touch. Stewart's over the top with Larson. Last tackle with Brisbane. Langer, this kick, his array of kicks, he's shown them all so far today. Sears 5 metres out from his own line. Carroll is there to make the tackle. They really look to be on the ball, this Broncos side. And Florimo is almost knocked out of the stadium. Thorne and Webke. Oh, he's rattled his teeth. He's rattled every bone in his body.
Oh, it's a good hit because it's a big stadium.
Now the Bears counter-attack with Iken. And now up with Stewart. High ball there for Taylor. Fed along for Larson. Certainly not flowing for North Sydney. 5 tackles up. Taylor coming around to the right now. Will he get a kick away this time? Well, it's a left footer from Jason Taylor. Not such a bad one. At least he cleared the head of Darren Lockyer. Chases all there for North Sydney. Interesting, Greg Florimo has gone to the bench. Scott Petherbridge is on. A couple of defensive lapses so far from Flo.
We can see this afternoon a conscious effort by Michael Hancock to straighten his running. He's had probably 5 or 6 touches so far and not hitting a cross field at all, just going forward and taking the shortest line between A and B as Kevin Wallace again cuts them up, throws the dummy, finally grabbed by a desperate Billy Moore.
And now up with Campion. 13 on his back, but not in the starting lineup for this one. Last tackle, Reba was slow to clear the play the ball. Perhaps on any other tackle he may have been penalised. Lockyer fires that one out for Renouf. Back with Hancock. This is the last. Lockyer got back in position to receive the pass, and Brisbane, they continue forward. Philip Lee it is, and he's tackled 5 metres out. Changeover. Dynamic first touch for Philip Lee. They under some pressure, North Sydney.
Listen, this is a sign of a confident football team. Running it on the last, beautiful ball. Lee straight through the tackle of Reba, step Petherbridge, and he had an unmarked Darren Smith outside. It should have been a try.
Elation getting ready to come on for North Sydney. Missed last week's match with injury against Auckland. Gave Glenn Morrison a chance on the bench. Morrison's up against it, cracking it for a spot on this side. Now Iken on for Fairley. Fairley across field, but Walters, everything right for Kevin Walters today. He was a guest on the footy show. He was fairly confident, it must be said. And that's been backed up with the Broncos' performance in the first 25 minutes here. Ball sits up for Sailor. Sailor props and then runs it more.
Well, this is the worst kicking game from North Sydney that I've seen in a long, long time. Didn't get one in because of a bad pass from dummy half on one occasion. We've seen Jason Taylor forced to kick with his left. On that occasion, they picked up probably 30 metres, and this is the third tackle, and already Lee takes it into opposition territory.
In the tackle on Philip Lee. Back with Langer. Condensed defensive line. That's the widest man there, Petherbridge, and Carroll has two on his outside. Smith is with it. Back for Saylor. Now 20 metres out from the Bears line. It was a fair passage down that right side for Brisbane to work with. Exploited the North Sydney defence. Langer, flat pass there. Walters was taken ball and all by Fairley. Last tackle. Tallis is the man at dummy half. Langer is with him. 10 out from the line. He jinks into the tackle of Larson. Still alive with Hancock. Coming across field. Hancock kick. A ricochet. No restarting of the tackle count. Lockyer up for Smith. Here is another one for Brisbane. Wow, where has that one come from? Darren Smith scores it. But the passage of play has lasted 40 or 50 seconds. And Brisbane have 4 tries on the board.
Well, this could end up 80 because at the moment they are nearly scoring at a point a minute. Again, the last tackle, prepared to run the footy. He ran into a brick wall in the shape of Gary Larson, but Langer still able to keep it free, got the ball to Hancock. The problem for North Sydney was that they ran out of troops, and in the end, the pass to Darren Smith after this rebound, as we freeze it there, you can see this man here is Billy Moore. He's got the quicker man on the outside in Darren Smith, and as play continues, Billy Moore, he just can't foot it with the quicker player. And improves the position.
Yeah, it really made it difficult. Mickey Hancock will probably be bragging about this for a week, that his team has scored off one of his cleverly placed kicks. That's just plain bad luck for North Sydney. But Sterlo, it's a position in rugby league that I've got to try and doubt. Playing slide defence is fine, but I believe if you're in a situation like that, it's desperate stakes. You've got to try and make them throw the pass. You are a slight chance of seeing them drop the ball.
Yeah, Petherbridge probably had to come in when he saw that Moore wasn't going to make the tackle, and I guess it's drummed into wingers these days. You've got to stay with your man, but okay, his man didn't score, but it happened on the inside without a chance of a mistake.
Well, we're watching the total dissection of this North Sydney game plan at the moment as Lockyer gets yet another kick, and again successful. What about the scoreline? 27 gone, it's 22-2 to the Broncos. With the action, changes. Muir enters the fray again, replacing Billy Moore. Taylor on the restart.
Speaking of changes, Andrew, I'd like to change my tip from North to Brisbane.
No heart, Peter. Well, I need to muster something before half-time to have even a glimmer of hope. But look, Brisbane just playing too well. Here is Sivanasitha. Nice game to come into first grade.
You get the feeling that North Sydney are sitting back and waiting to see what the Brisbane side are going to do, and that's just suicide against a team with the talent that the Broncos possess. Their best chance this afternoon, North, was to get in their face, was to force mistakes, force players in the opponent's side to make decisions quicker than they want to, and I'm talking about the Alan Langers and the Kevin Walters. At the moment, they're sitting back waiting to see what they're going to do.
Good kick. Won't pull up, though. Order was back for North Sydney. He wants some urgency about the Bears' play. He'll have to wait for all his teammates to get back on side.
Wait till step, fellas, down the line.
With Taylor up for Petherbridge. That's where he goes, and again some real hammer in the defence. Tony Carroll. And Stewart. To the 30-metre line. Steve Roach on the sideline.
Well, the worst thing you can do in defence when Brisbane Broncos have got the ball is when the ball leaves you, you can't stand flat-footed, or they'll come back with a second phase play and hurt you like they did in that last try.
Lation that time, almost a second tackle on Lation. He had a look up at the referee. Taylor wanted to pass. Fairley was in the way. He was hoping to spread a little wider than that. Taylor copped the treatment in the tackle from Campion. So Eichen provides the kick, and again, this is off the side of the boot. One bounce to Wendell Saylor. The kick only travelled some 25 metres. The gasp was from Peter Sterling. The kicking woes continue.
Well, Jason Taylor there, he wanted to pass the football because he wanted to be in position to kick on the next tackle.
4-zip, the line breaks to Brisbane.
And they've just about all led to tries.
Inside around half, and now a penalty. Driscoll is on now, dummy half for Brisbane, but Stewart, the man penalised. Just all sorts of problems. This just adds to that list. Conceding a penalty, which gets Brisbane now inside the Bears half.
Yeah, I think the biggest Bears problem at the moment has been the defence on the edge of their ruck. They're taking dummies or just plain hanging off the ball carrier. And when you've got blokes like Langer and Walters doing that, you can't afford to do it. You've just got to make sure the ball carrier ends up on the deck.
It's Driscoll on for Sivanasiva. Taken low and effectively in the tackle of Reba. But they are on the Bears 20. They lead by 22 points to 2. Lock your quick hands for Carroll. And a struggle free of the Taylor Butner tackle. Driscoll back with Langer. Then Webke straightening up right in front of the North Sydney post now. Left and right they can go. Langer gets them fired up to the right. Lockyer, then quick hands. Again, will it be Brisbane scoring? Oh, there's the answer. Carroll gets that one. They are queuing up to score now, Brisbane.
I could get one out there at the moment. There is absolutely no intensity whatsoever in this North Sydney defence. Look, they don't come up off their line with any enthusiasm at all. Even this close, you've got to rush out and force the opposition to do something they don't want to do. Great ball from Johnny Plath onto Tony Carroll. He carries Petherbridge over the line. But every time that Newcastle get down in this 20-metre zone, they look like they're going to score, the Brisbane side.
Pete, you mentioned the intensity that's not there. There's also not the structure of the defensive pattern. They had 3 players covering half a football field. That's 35 metres. They can't do that, especially with the Broncos, when they got players that enjoy playing a cross-ruck trade of their play. It just isn't going to work, and if they're going to continue to just line up the way that they are and not count heads, the score could end up way over 50.
He's an unsung hero, isn't he, Johnny Plath? That's a great pass. I guess he hasn't started many Broncos matches when you consider the amount of grey games that he's played, but every time I've seen him come on the paddock, he's had an impact. He's now got the number 9 on his back, and even at outside centre on that occasion, he attracted 2 defenders, still got the perfect pass away and set the try up.
Lockyer, this time from about 27 metres back, well wide of the post. His worst kick of the day. Look at that scoreline, 26-2 to Brisbane over North Sydney.
Well, I don't agree with a slide defence when the attacking team's only 10 metres out. Have a look at North Sydney sliding across. You've got to make the decision, come up and make the hit. Just poor defence there from North Sydney, as Wally Lewis mentioned. Far too many numbers for Brisbane. They're just working the ball in the middle of the park and then hitting back to either side.
Well, questions will be asked, or certainly being asked at this stage, about North Sydney's premiership campaign. They've lost already this season to Newcastle and Melbourne. It's looking very bleak here against Brisbane. If you look at the table, they're the top 3 teams. The teams that have beaten North Sydney this year. That's how it looked going into today. Only 2 points separating the teams. For Driscoll, then Walters. Cross with Lee, quick hands for Campion. 5 short of halfway. Webke losing the ball in the tackle. And Taylor is with it for Norths.
That'll be a 0 there. 8. Now you're at Claret.
I've been here for Shane Webke.
Well, that looks worse than what I think it will actually be. A couple of stitches there for Shane Webke. Bleed fairly heavily up around the eye region. And despite that mistake there, Shane Webke again has taken the side forward. Head clash there with David Fairley. He'll be back shortly.
He was leading the hit-up count. 8 hit-ups for Shane Webke so far in this one. Now Soden. Inside there for Lation. A bit of strapping on the left leg of Willie Lation as Eichen. Nice ball there from Eichen for Muir. Touch of Matthew Johns about that, and Newcastle shades of 97 in previous seasons. Now Taylor. Second ball there for Moore. And back with Sears. 20 metres out from the Brisbane line. Desperately needing some points, this North side. Just to close the gap, just for their confidence. Just taking a battering here. Taylor is with it. And cleaned up. And the tackle of Thorne. Last tackle for North Sydney. Their kicker is out, their first choice kicker, that is. Florimo dribbles that one to the in goal. Across is Lockyer. Lockyer is taken. Well, that'll be touch in goal. He took the corner post in the tackle. Tackle on Lockyer by Horder. Touch judges ruled that he's gone over the sideline first and then the corner post was taken out. So we'll have a scrum.
Before we go in. Seconds in. Seconds in. Lock in now.
Big chance for the Bears. Taylor.
On that hole. Hockey, get your foot up a bit. Give him that hole there.
Icon is set on the 20-metre line. And with it now, Florimo runs a decoy, then back for Sears. Sears has Roy on his outside, and that is great defence. Looking across field with Smith. Roy goes a short blind side. He's left the ball behind.
And Brisbane have got it.
It looked a dreadful option. And Lockyer straight away on the attack.
Well, take a bow, Darren Smith. You're the one that's provided the opportunity for Brisbane. North Sydney looked to be constructing a fair bit of promising attack over the last 2 or 3 minutes, but that's certainly gone out the window with a little bit of silly play there.
More troubles for the Bears. I think Billy Moore limping off now as Tallis is taken high. He has a look up and a point at Florimo. Oh, gee, the head rocks sideways in the tackle. Gordon would be saying it's no worse than my shot last week, and I was set off. Yeah, that's Billy Moore gone.
Not too many opportunities to see Billy Moore carried from the field by a couple of the minders in the North Sydney camp, and it looks to be a knee injury, so State of Origin selectors from Queensland. Heart rates would be up a little bit at the moment.
Sorrenti's with him now as he goes to the dressing rooms, but Brisbane remaining on the attack.
A couple of high shots just starting to creep in there. David Fairley not called for that one as Tallis finds John Plath, right side of the field.
It's the Bears 30-metre line you can see. Langer across with Lockyer. Then the second man play. Campion standing wide for Brisbane. Flung around in the tackle of Florimo. And Langer tries on the board. Oh, big tackle. Almost looked, yeah, the ball was knocked loose.
Oh, although pulled it up early.
Well, I thought it had travelled forward.
Well, he's going to have a go for a high tackle here, I'm pretty sure, but Alan Langer believes that he had the opportunity to be able to dribble a ball over the line because there was no defence at home for North Sydney.
Yeah, I'd like to have a look at that tackle again. The touch judge has come on again. It's Greg Florimo.
No, that was one before it, mate. We're going to have a look at the tackle and report penalties against you.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that tackle whatsoever. I think it's got him over the shoulder. Although Lee is still down, I don't know whether that's from the way that he fell or the actual impact of the tackle, but I think Florimo on that occasion's a little bit hardly done by. Maybe got out of a touch easier the one before.
Well, he's on report, Greg Florimo, for that. And that penalty has given Lockyer yet another opportunity for 2 points.
And you've got to say it's a surprising decision from Brisbane to kick for goal here. This is normally 26-2, only a couple of minutes to go. I thought they were certs to go for the 6.
I think it's the first time I've ever seen Brisbane decide to take a penalty 2 points. Usually they can have one right in front, 10 metres out. Even if they're 25 or 30 points in front, they'll decide to take the shot. I suppose they're not far off that now.
I think they're just a bit tired from all the tries they scored. They want a break.
Lockyer's kick from 20 metres out. No problems for Darren Lockyer. More troubles for North Sydney. 28-2. Billy Moore is in the dressing rooms injured. Florimo now on report. Louis will want to have some sort of magic words to say at half-time. North Sydney side just to remain competitive in this one. Here is Saylor. Crossfield and past the first line of defence, Wendell Saylor. Taken the ground by Trindle. Now Driscoll up for Campion. Good metres from Kevin Campion.
Just quickly on that Greg Florimo tackle, my opinion is that the one before it was the one that should have been placed on report. I thought it was worse than the one that has actually seen him put there.
Short of halfway. Driscoll back for Langer. Then Lockyer. Plath standing in the centres, then Smith. Good fend away from Smith. Touch of Michael Hancock about the run, and Driscoll was able to offload then for Lee. Impressive play from Brisbane, very skillful. Now with Driscoll. That's good stuff, 30 metres out from the North line. Langer gets the call from the outside. Thorne was there, back for Hancock. Hancock, he keeps the ball alive. Brisbane with Tallis. Tallis is 15 metres out. Still alive with Plath. Brisbane on the attack, Hancock, 10 metres out. Now he's there, Michael Hancock. This is a great display of league from the Brisbane Broncos. Sears is complaining that he was held out of the play. And we will be going to the video referee. Sears is saying that a Broncos player had prevented him from making a tackle.
I think they got a clear run. I don't think it would have made any difference, but have a look if there's a hold back on North Sydney fullback.
Okay, while I'm watching to see if Matt Sears is held back, you count how many passes.
I don't know whether we've got that much time, Sterling.
Oh. Well, this is late in the movement, obviously. Let's try and pick out Matt Sears. He's coming across there now. He's obviously the deepest North Sydney defender. Doesn't get involved there. Alan Langer grabs him by the jersey, does hold on to him, and I think he's got a case. Now, whether he'd have stopped the try or not, I don't know, but he was certainly held out of the play. But Bill Harrigan believes that it didn't affect Michael Hancock's run to the line.
I've got no dramas with a try. I don't think the level of the benefit of the doubt was enough to substantiate the fact that they could disallow the try.
Well, that's the third pass there. Continuing it on, you have a look at the player that keeps sticking his hand up all the way through it this afternoon is Johnny Plath. Geez, he's prepared to do anything this afternoon, but as Sterlo mentioned a little bit earlier, Nicky Hancock seems to be running a little bit straighter as they post the 2 points. It's a guy that really has played a huge part in it, but it's been a fairly good team effort. There hasn't been one player that's really stood out any more than anybody else. It's just been a consistent team run.
Lockyer's kick successful, completes the first 40 minutes. A demolition job from the Brisbane Broncos, 34 points to 2. We'll take a break and come back with the second half from ANZ Stadium. Back here in Brisbane, the Broncos, courtesy of 6 first-half tries, lead by 34 points to 2. Some awesome form shown by Brisbane today. North Sydney, by the same token, very, very disappointing.
I don't think I've ever seen stats like that, especially between two sides that would have aspirations of winning a competition. 69% time in possession for the home side, 6-0 the line breaks. They haven't threatened the Bears. They've had no ball to do so, but really the missed tackles has probably been their worst thing. In fact, tackles that they haven't even come up and look like making. 16-4, few handling errors from either side, and although there's 6 kicks in general play, the Brisbane side have definitely outkicked their opposition here this afternoon.
And the forwards work rate. A lot of guys trying to book state of origin jobs. Brad Thorne is one of those guys. Instrumental, I think, after playing very well for his country on Friday night despite the heavy loss. But it seems like despite his heavy effort, the rest of the workload is being fairly well shared around. I think it's very difficult for any one guy outside of Thorne to put his hand up. But for the North Sydney team, we'll have a look at that. I think they've tried to share their hit-ups as much as they possibly can, but I think they're trying to get a little bit of breath in. A couple of the guys doing a fair bit of work for them there, but outside the guys that are doing all that work on the edge of the ruck, it's going to be a little bit difficult. They're the ones that are coming up with the good tackles. I think when you have a look at the ones that are coming up with the missed tackles, you may find that they be just a little bit wider out.
Back underway with Jason Taylor. Half of credibility for North Sydney. Brisbane make the error with Shane Webke. Filthy on himself with that one. North Sydney will have a scrum feed 10 metres out from the Broncos line.
Yeah, I don't think he's got any reason to blame anybody but himself. It didn't look a particularly bad pass from Wendell Saylor. A good chance to go Wendell Saylor's way if they like to, but no, they come to where the numbers are through Wyken.
Still no Billy Moore out there for North Sydney. We'll get a report on Moore, who was replaced closing in on half-time with what looked to be an ankle injury. And now North Sydney, well, Trindle comes up with an error. It looked terribly clumsy. And Brisbane are back over and beyond their 20-metre line. Renoff juggling that out. I think Moore is there.
Dominant tackle, that'll do it now, 2.
And Plath. Away with Thorne.
It's been a great performance from Brad Thorne so far in the first 41 minutes of this game. He's a bit slow to get up on this occasion. Valiant efforts yesterday by both Rodney Howe and Glenn Lazarus for the Melbourne Storm, but I think if you ask the players, it's probably even harder to back up 2 days after a game, as Kevin Walters again really slides through.
Terrific form, Kevin Walters. And Langer. Away with Tallis. Tallis putting that left arm fend on Taylor. He'll take him with him. Taylor falls off. Soden had to get across. 20 metres out from the Bears line. Langer up for Saylor. There's the kick from Saylor. Moore is there. Catch on the full gives us a chance to go to the sideline. Steve Roach.
Yeah, well, of course, for Brisbane, Wayne Bennett very, very happy with his side. He said he'd like to see a little bit of a better chase on Taylor. They're giving him a little bit too much time with his kicking game at the moment. He said our support play is great. He said that's what we've been looking for all season. And he's really just basically said, let's go on with it. Wepke got a few stitches at half-time, but he's back out there. For North Sydney, Billy Moore's got a bad right ankle, but he's just had it strapped and he'll be straight back out there. He said, look, errors coming out of our own trouble. We're our own worst enemies. That's costing us. We can't turn the football over to the Brisbane Broncos. He said, don't ball watch Walters. You've got to go at him and make sure we number up and put the man on the ground. He said, boys, in the second half, just do your best. Let's hang in there. Win the second half.
He was too quick.
Well, we nearly had to hold the phone there, Block, because Alan Langer has been called when it looked as though he had a pretty good one-on-one ball steal.
Gee, I didn't think there was anyone else within cooey of him when he... Oh, that's... I think... Given the opportunity to watch that, unless he's called him for being offside,
Must be.
been anything else. It's a simple steal.
They were doing it tough in that set of 6 as well. It was the last tackle. They hadn't made it over their own 20. So Langer was called offside. In fact, not standing square as marker. He got out a little quick.
Heads down, come on, put him in, all the way in.
Turn the kick touched by Brisbane. So that's why we had the scrum, and Roy is with it for North Sydney. And Fairley away for Moore. We saw the first half statistics as time in possession, a glaring mismatch. I don't think the Bears can hide behind that stat alone. And what we've seen so far in this game, it's an enormous advantage, sure, for Brisbane, but very early on in this match, Norths have looked outclassed. Here's Taylor. Away with Eichen. Then on. Actually looking to show that ball to the left. Plenty of defence across there. Smith has been busy right across the park this afternoon. It was Muir he was tackling. And now Taylor. 35 metres out from the Brisbane line. That kick threaded through. Lockyer from his own in goal. Leading the chase as the kicker. That is Jason Taylor. Lockyer, though, back to the field of play. In a flawless game so far from Darren Lockyer. And now Hancock. Taken by Taylor. Let's just check the scores from other grounds today in round 7. That's the full-time score from the Newcastle match, 38-14. Now half-time scores from the other grounds. St George 12-0 over Western Suburbs. Canberra against the Gold Coast, it's 12-6. Illawarra, an 8-point advantage over Parramatta. And South Sydney showing the way against Manly, 12-0. Both those sides on 4 competition points as Sivanasiva ducks under, makes 30 metres. Good run. Plath up for Langer. They continue forward. Walters kick. And Sears on the chase back. He's with it, Matt Sears. And Sears, can he get to the field of play? It's a game effort. He fails in his attempt. Line drop out to North Sydney.
Well, the youngster making his debut ducks under the tackle of Adam Muir and Ben Eichen. And then again on the last tackle. The little things in games are so important. Even though the first chaser misses, and that's Tony Carroll, Kevin Walters, Darren Smith, Lee and Wendell Saylor all there to help in the tackle of Sears.
Sivanasiva, while he looks a good athlete for a bloke who's been named as a front rower.
Yeah, well, he's a guy that's basically been sitting on the reserves bench for a long, long time. I think that break will probably do marvellous things for his confidence. Exactly what he did need. One of the quietest fellas you'd ever meet, but if he keeps coming up with breaks like that, I'm sure we'll see a lot more of him in the Brisbane Broncos starting lineup.
Here he is again. Tackle 12 metres out. Also troubles. Right now, I think it's Eichen who's concussed after a previous tackle. He's trying to get back on side. Quick hands. It travelled forward to Hancock and over the sideline, but the wobbly boots on Ben Eichen at the moment.
North trainer. I know he was crook, mate. You just got to watch when he comes
Well, Bill Harrigan is just having a word to the North trainer saying, look, I know he was crook, but you've got to stay out of the way. And that was the tackle where Icon
get set before you go, heads down. Lock in.
was in trouble. The trainer straight on, and he wasn't far away from where the play came.
Sydney survived that Broncos charge. Still at the half-time score of 34-2. Moore appears to be moving fairly freely.
And backwards.
And backwards, yes. And now up for Muir. Again, huge advantage for Brisbane. That's a quick recovery. That's Icon in possession. 15 short of halfway. And now back with Trindle, able to offload. There might have been a Broncos hand in there. Butner is across to it. Butner, no restarting of the tackle count. Fairly quick hand for Florimo, and Hancock makes the tackle. Florimo trying to force the pass. Great work, Michael Hancock. Had to leave his wing and made the tackle. Could have any complaints about that. Greg Florimo.
Unhappy afternoon for Greg Florimo so far, isn't it? Steve Renouf has gone straight through him. He's been placed on report, trying to force a pass in his own territory there. Not too many things going right, well, for the team in general. But for Greg Florimo, it's Kevin Walters finds Lockyer, dummies. Straight onto Tony Carroll. Good tackle laid by Butner, but he still picked up 5 or 6 metres.
Getting in motion. Of course, we've got, well, a terrific battle next Friday night. We've been waiting since the end of September last year for this one. Or rather Sunday, we've got Norths and Manly. Newcastle and Brisbane, though, on Friday night at Marathon Stadium. And it's shaping as a top-of-the-table clash. There's Brisbane, a roll-on with Thorne, able to offload, back for Lockyer. Lockyer over the ground by Fairley. 10 metres out from the Bears line. Plath, then Langer. Away. Walters has caused problems for the Bears defence every time he's touched the ball so far. Up for Saylor. Looking for work. Wendell Saylor. Saylor! Half a metre short. He got straight over the top of Steve Trindle. Plath back with Langer. Looking for try number 7. Quick hand from Lee back then with the Brisbane captain. Still 5 metres out. Big line to the right-hand side. Lockyer at first receiver. Fires it out. Is this the try coming? Brisbane with Carroll up for Saylor. Good stuff. Brisbane get another one. And it is 38 points to 2.
Again, just beautiful work by Tony Carroll on this occasion to hold off a couple of defenders and still get his arm free to pass the football. They did pretty well here in North Sydney. They looked like they'd come up with the right defence, but the winger, Nigel Roy, came in. Tony Carroll able to get his arm free and just pop it up for Wendell Saylor. Very similar to what we saw Kevin Walters do early in the game for Gordon Tallis. That's a beautiful pass, magnificent ball.
And to any young rugby league fans watching that, is a classic example of what you can do when you're running the football, keeping the ball in the furthest arm from the defender. Keeping his left hand there, using it as a very good defending weapon. Kept the ball alive as well, and really reshaping as one of the most one-sided contests we've seen here at ANZ Stadium, whilst we've had 2 quality sides on the park.
Trindle to the bench for North Sydney. And just on Wendell Saylor, been some reports of late that he'll be looking to cancel his deal with Wigan. Change of heart, perhaps, for Wendell. Your 5 goals for the afternoon. 7 tries on the board for Brisbane. I'll ask the question shortly, is it too early already to wipe away the hopes of North Sydney for the premiership? This one right on the sideline. Left boot of Darren Lockyer. This one again is short and wide. So 5 goals, it remains next to the name of Darren Lockyer. 38-2, the Broncos over the Bears.
Stay behind, fellas.
Bears with Jason Taylor. Black afternoon for North Sydney. Most recent try scorer Wendell Saylor is with it. And over the 10-metre line. So just a reminder about next Friday night. Newcastle looking for a capacity crowd of 30,000. They've got around 10,000 tickets still on sale. The Knights and the Broncos will have all the action from 8:30. And this is Tallis. There's the 2 premiers of last year, Newcastle and Brisbane.
Andrew, you posed the question before the break as to North Sydney's chances in the premiership this year. Obviously, there's a long way to go, and they're going to improve. And in fact, both of these sides will be different teams come September. As good pass there, picks up a couple of more metres. What it will do, it's up to North Sydney now to psychologically get over that, and for them to believe that they can beat Brisbane at the right end of the season. Quarter some work to do here, but he gets a good bounce. So I think psychologically they've got to make sure they don't lose confidence or belief in themselves.
Warner did very well. Brett Dallas, the only man to come back into the squad for North Sydney. Now Roy gets it as far as the 20-metre line, talking about psychological battles. If Darren Lockyer had any troubles on Friday night, he's bounced back here, Steve.
Yeah, it's been a magnificent performance. I was just sitting back and trying to wonder why he's so good a player, but he involves himself in every set of 6 tackles. I don't think I've ever seen a fullback that does that, comes up from the line when the Broncos have got the ball, moves into second receiver and passes on. He's in everything.
Ewan, nice hands from North Sydney. Sears on there for Horder. One of their better raids of the match. Horder late with a pass. Bounced up for Sears. Just short of halfway, last tackle. No tries as yet for North Sydney. Taylor across Eichen. His kick has found a gap between Lockyer and Saylor, who now combine. Saylor over the 20. Saylor through the Soden tackle. It was enough though to knock him off his feet. Now Smith. Smith away for Carroll. It's better every match, Tony Carroll. Tackles, well, that is just an enormous statistic. 12 sets of 6 more in defence as far as North Sydney are concerned. Right on halfway, Langer for Sivanasiva.
You look at that stat, and you can understand now North Sydney maybe coming up with some bad missed tackles because of the fatigue factor. But their problem was early in the game when they shouldn't have had such a problem, even though the opposition had as much football. After 20 minutes, you shouldn't be missing as many tackles as they were.
Kick by Langer. Awkward bounce there for Taylor. Taylor has lost it. Brisbane, can they regather? It'll be a line drop out to North Sydney. Sears got back there. Awkward one for the Bears captain.
Well, Sterlo, I think this really has been one of the secrets to Brisbane's success so far this afternoon. The kicking games, although they haven't relied on it all that heavily, it's been that well constructed. The places they've put the football have been in total contrast to the Bears. They've kicked very poorly. Strange, they have been regarded for a long time as having the best kicker in the business for positional play.
Line drop out from Ben Eichen. Well handled by Wendell Saylor. Involvement across the park from the Brisbane players. Even the bench blokes today have had very good contributions.
Well, I think Wayne Bennett would have been looking for that, obviously, with the fact that he had 4 backing up. As Kevin Walters finds some support in John Platt, takes it 12 out. So I'm sure that Wayne Bennett came into this game realising that he was going to use a lot of interchange, and I think the players would have understood that.
21-6, the missed tackle count. Lockyer, inside it comes. There's another try to Brisbane. It's Lee this time for the Broncos. Another one of the young talent at this club, 42-2. The scoreboard ticks over.
About the first time we've ever given blokes a rap and they've come up with something good in the next play, and that was Philip Lee fending off the attempted tackle of Gary Larson. Things going from bad to worse. As I said earlier, you can understand now some missed tackles because they've had to do so much. But the damage was done in the first 20 minutes. Now the Brisbane side just continue to reap the rewards.
Yeah, as we've been saying for most of the afternoon, Bears' biggest problem has been right on the edge of their ruck. Whether they've been accepting dummies, Langer's game offering opportunities to runners on the inside and out has just proved too hard to answer for the North Sydney team. You get fellows like Gary Larson starting to drop off tackles like that, you really know that the afternoon is a tough one for the Bears. It will make things a little bit more difficult, I guess, for State of Origin selectors when that comes around for the Queensland team. You've got players like Darren Smith, Brad Thorne and Gordon Tallis. I wonder whether they're going to be able to push out guys like Billy Moore and Gary Larson out of the back trio. If anything, it probably would leave a great smile on the face of coach Wayne Bennett.
Too many Broncos would miss out if you were picking a team tonight. Lockyer's kick is not good. So he's struck troubles. That's about the only department he has. 42-2, 57 gone.
Stay behind it, Gary Larson. Step back.
North Sydney on the end of a hiding here to the premiership favourites as Hancock is with it. Brisbane will go to 12 competition points on the back of this win to join Melbourne and also Newcastle at the top of the table. And now Walker. Walker has space. And Walker for Brisbane. Good tackle. Driving him back. It's better than a good tackle. It's taken him back 20 metres almost to where he received the pass. It's play on for Webke. Like snakes and ladders. And Webke regains the ground now. Gets over the 40. And up for Langer. And across with Walters. Just through the Fairley tackle. On halfway, Brisbane. Driscoll the man at dummy half. Now Plath. Making 10 metres and attracting 2 and 3 defenders in. Driscoll again. Back with Campion. In the tackle again for North Sydney. Now 25 metres out. Is Langer another chance to kick? Another display of superb skills. Superb tie! Lockyer on the back of a kick from Alan Langer. Oh, that is great stuff from Brisbane.
Oh, it's Greg Brentnell, Steve Gearin, Dennis Ward, Graham Langlands. Take your pick. This time, Alan Langer, Darren Lockyer, he's onside. Again, a distinct lack of urgency from the North Sydney side. As soon as the kick went up and you saw the chase coming from the respective teams, you had to favour Darren Lockyer. He just looked hungrier in the chase.
Very clever kick from Langer. The inside-out banana kick, Aussie rule style. Couldn't have put it any... Looked like he was certainly about to put it on a tee. Darren Lockyer there. Understand his glee at being able to pick up that. Confidence great for him this afternoon.
Darren Lockyer has bounced back. Langer has bounced back, and there obviously was disappointment at missing the test. Just a superb display of rugby league. And all the sporting bookmakers right now are firming the price about this team winning the premiership. Lockyer's kick. He's having a big afternoon. 20 points is the tally for Darren Lockyer in a 48-2 scoreline. 20 minutes still remaining.
Well, if he's not offloading on the outside or on the inside, he's leaping high above the North Sydney team. He's had a magnificent game. As I said before, I don't think I've ever seen a fullback involved in a game as much as Lockyer has today. Have a look at this. Snatches it out. And look at that. He thinks about the dive, but thought, no, I better not.
There could really be one person that's starting to blow up about this game this afternoon. It's the jockey on top of the horse. Getting a little bit tired of going around the paddock here every time the Broncos score tries.
What about the horse?
The jockey's the only one asking for pay.
And here's Tallis for the Broncos. Out here this afternoon, that would be one disappointment for Brisbane. It hasn't even reached the 20,000 mark. 13,791 for two of the premier clubs in the competition.
That's extremely disappointing. As you point out, two sides, they've got high profiles, but even as importantly as that, it's a sensational afternoon to come to the footy. Beautiful day here in Brisbane as Matt Sears turns around once again and just look at the chase.
Oh, it's an army of defenders through there. It only took one to make the tackle. Hancock got there first on Sears. Another perfect kick from Darren Lockyer. Petherbridge is with it for North Sydney. Got away from Hancock that time. A few highlights taken out of this game for North Sydney is Horder. Able to make 10 metres. Well, Horder was trying to get to his feet. I got no dramas with him going into touch. There was no second tackle. It was Horder looking to continue on, and Tallis got him over the sideline.
I mean, there was still momentum in the tackle, even though Horder, he didn't want too much part of it.
Look, 5-8.
Brisbane 48-2 in the last quarter of this game. The Broncos aren't finished yet. There's Ben Walker. In the Newton tackle. Lead 34-2 at half-time. Langer away with Walters. Walters up to the line. Lockyer was looming. Walters unable to offload. And Driscoll. Langer. Lee coming across field, trying to spin away from the tackle. He's still got it, and then away for Smith, and then on for Saylor. He completes it. Brisbane will bring up the 50. Wendell Saylor scores the try. That time it was Philip Lee who set it up.
And we come back to Wade Horder being taken over the sideline by Gordon Tallis. 3 or 4 occasions we've seen a changeover in possession by North Sydney, and it's led to a Brisbane try in the next set of 6. Petherbridge had a play at Wendell Saylor, but the damage had been done earlier with the missed tackles. And again, another bench player featuring prominently straight over the top of Lation, and the timely offload to Darren Smith, who found Wendell Saylor.
I've got to give a real big rap to Philip Lee. Really difficult for a lot of the guys that aren't quite so well known in the Broncos outfit to ever grab headlines once they pour on that Broncos jersey. But a real embarrassment coming up for the North Sydney team at the moment. The highest record previously over the Bears was 44 points to 6 at Lang Park in now known as Suncorp Stadium in 1991. And talking about points, it's now rapidly approaching the Bears' biggest ever loss, which was 59 points to 3. And that was against Glebe at Wentworth Park in 1915.
It's a good Glebe side though, Peter.
Yeah, I think Rabbits called that game, actually.
Here's Lockyer. Kicking from the sideline. Darren Lockyer has got it back on target. Well, if he gets a few more opportunities, we could be looking at 60 or 70. Brisbane 54, North Sydney 2. Back come some of the troops, Florimo and Soden for North Sydney. Look at that score line. If anyone had that on the pick the score, the footy tab runs, you'd pay them out, but then you'd lock them up.
Yeah, I'm blowing up. I had 52-2. And Lockie's put one over from the sideline.
And Webke. Nice shot on him by Lation, it was. Sivanasiva. Everything asked of him today. And now Driscoll with Langer. Walters lining up on the outside. Smith. Then away. I think it's Plath out in the centre. Standing on the outside of Darren Smith. Then back for Darren Smith. Over the 40-metre line. He's beaten 3 or 4. Or just short of halfway. Driscoll. Now with Tallis. Tallis able to offload. Langer. Then inside without looking to Walters. Then back to Webke. Oh, this is beautiful. Oh, just sit back and watch some of this. Lockyer inside the 20. Flicks it up for Walters. Looking to pass. He might need to. Gets the ball away and put down by Smith. No try to Brisbane. Gee, it deserves 2 or 3.
Well, if you're a Brisbane fan, you're going to enjoy this last 15 minutes. If you're a North fan, you probably don't want to watch, because this is what we're going to see from Brisbane now. Their confidence is up. They've got the game won. Kevin Walters trying to pick the best man to pass it to. He thought it was Darren Smith. The pass didn't find its mark. Lovely flick pass from Darren Lockyer, again involved, as Steve Roach has pointed out.
0 the line breaks to Brisbane. North Sydney winning this scrum. And Eichen I think the state of origin, if there was a battle, Walters has just got 2 hands on the jumper now. They've taken his size and he'll be there for Queensland. Alongside his little mate, Alan Langer. And now Soden. Across to Fairley. Fairley trying to dump that pass off, has lost it. Brisbane have got to the loose ball, and here comes another chance. 25 metres out.
What?
Been waiting for assistance from his touch judge.
Lost it.
Well, the Brisbane lost it. It seemed very much after the tackle had been affected.
Well, it may seem a little bit strange here that Wayne Bennett, this will be a particular area of the game that he will try and concentrate on very heavily, as we saw David Fairley drop off a pass that offered Brisbane a little bit of possession, Langer jumping on it, but he will really concentrate on this last bit, making sure that they don't come up with silly errors like this, despite having the fact that they've got the game all wrapped up. Back in 1988, when the Broncos thrashed Manly in that very first opener, we got into the dressing sheds and thought we were in for a pat on the back, and he absolutely tore strips off us for the amount of mistakes that we made in the last 10 minutes of the match.
Talking about that result, that might be one question you'd like to ask Paul Horton tonight from that game in '88. On the web tonight, the website. Paddy Horton, he'd love to talk to him. I don't know how it works, but there he'll be there.
Well, Paul's a very deep thinker, and that'll be shown to the people who do ring tonight. We'll solve some world problems with our Paul.
And now Florimo, and he's looking forward to it too. Here's Taylor, kicking. Got a nice bounce. Taylor, then intercepted by Tallis. Here comes Gordon Tallis. The fat man on the net. Good pick up from Taylor. And found Tallis as Brisbane continue to attack to the 40-metre line.
Just forgive his spelling mistakes now.
Short of halfway. Driscoll. Webke. 5 inside Bears territory. 54-2. They're unloading in tackles. They're beating tackles. Again it starts. Long ball intercept for Florimo. The old legs won't have the speed, I don't think, although he's over halfway. Oh, the old legs might. Hancock's chasing. 2 veterans. Oh, tackle 10 metres out from the line. It's Roy, in fact. Nigel Roy, younger legs than Florimo. Don't worry about that. Flows back on halfway saying good run.
Yeah, you got it down. You got no problem.
Nigel Roy has scored for North Sydney. I don't think he'll go to the board. North Sydney have their try. Nigel Roy. Oh, Florimo, eh?
No, it wasn't going to be Florimo. It's not Flo's day, that's for sure. Nigel Roy showed plenty of perseverance in this try, and he's probably saved a try for the opposition, or the opposition were going to score one if he hadn't have come up with this intercept. Johnny Plath looking for the wide pass to Carroll. Fingertip control. Was rounded up there, but actually fended off Michael Hancock and got a little bit of momentum from that. Hancock unable to hang on. Roy to the ground, struggles to get up. Lockyer arrives, but the momentum takes him across. Bill Harrigan came across and said to the touch judge, you don't have any drama about him getting it down. The touchy said, no, that was okay. So the arm went out to award the try.
He's run 80 metres to score a 40-metre try. Extremely well. A couple of the Broncos players believing that they held the ball up. They didn't. The ball was down fairly. We've got to give him, Nigel Roy, a big pat on the back for that one. Still, I said he saved a certain try to post the Bears' first one. It's been very embarrassing for them had they not been able to post a try against Brisbane today.
Sure, Florimo's quite happy to claim the try if offered. Taylor's kick, he has missed. So ends a run of successful attempts for him. 8 from 8 last week. 54-6.
Well, it's the first time that North Sydney have been up in the line in defence, up and in your face, as we mentioned a little bit earlier. Hancock gets pushed off here, but to his credit, he comes again. As you say, Nigel Roy just slips over, gets to his feet. Lockyer there to finish off the tackle, but just rolls over and scores a try, which is a very important one for North Sydney to get on the board.
And Lockyer's restart is deep. North Sydney with Fairley. Running back, bumps away from Saylor. Kick return by North Sydney to restart. Butner got back as far as the 30. Just have to regroup for next Sunday. North Sydney on the back of this result. Roy gets away there for Horder.
Hands away, Broncos.
Now starting to attack freely. Elation with Taylor. Reminder again about next Friday night. Top of the table. The premiers of last year, the Newcastle Knights against Brisbane. From Marathon Stadium, a packed house. 30,000 fans will be on board. I hope you have your company then. There's North Sydney. Good set of 6 this one following the try. Taylor switching the attack now with Florimo. Up 25 metres out. That's in 5 tackles. They've carted it to this zone on the field. Last tackle, Taylor. Kicking, the chase is being led by Horder. Horder will get there first, but the bounce is terrible.
Oh, no, well, can you believe it? He's been denied a try by a wicked bounce, and somehow he's got his leg in the wrong position in chasing it and looking to change direction, and looks like he's done his knee. There it is there.
Oh. Just see him locking it up into the turf. An off break Ashley Mallett would have been proud of. You can just see it bending under him there. Looked like he did both legs almost. His left knee and then his right ankle. Really got to feel sorry for him. They're terrible injuries for anybody to sustain. Just seeing the desperation that he had trying to get there and grab a try for North Sydney, and the pain that was displayed all over his face.
Wade Horder. All sorts of strife. It is allowed play to continue as the medical staff tend to the young bloke.
Oh, you mentioned earlier that Brett Dallas is not far from coming back as Brisbane side win that scrum. But I think it would have been a tough decision for Peter Louis as to which winger was not going to be in the starting lineup if he was going to rush Dallas back in. Horder's done a great job since being brought into the side. I think he's got something like 5 tries this season.
Indeed, now Brisbane with Saylor. Scoreboard has gone a little quiet over the last 6 or 7 minutes. Full time in opposition half, heavily weighted for Brisbane. Webke able to offload that time. Incidentally, they've got Horder onto the stretcher now off the field, so he's off to the rooms. Brisbane trapped on their own 30-metre line. Plath has been playing wide with Driscoll on the field. Now Lockyer gets a left foot kick down the blind side. Sears is back for North Sydney. From inside his 40, Matthew Sears to halfway. Good competition we've got though with Melbourne, Newcastle and Brisbane now all on 12 points. Host of teams at their heels. Now Petherbridge back for Taylor. 40 metres from the Brisbane line. Fairley back with Florimo. Nation. Tell you what, of the back row, the trio, Fairley has certainly stood out more so than Adam Muir or Billy Moore, although Billy Moore's had a problem with his ankle as Taylor throws a nice ball. North Sydney, can they get a second try? Muir's pass is loose.
He'll play on. No, he'll play on. No, I can play.
10 metres out, Brisbane back in possession. Saylor.
Well, they've been few and far between, but Adam Muir able to get through, and the pass just not finding the intended receiver as Johnny Plath takes it 30 metres out. Of course, North Sydney came to ANZ today knowing that a win would see them join Brisbane. Now with this loss, 4 points between the two sides, it's going to be difficult to catch up.
Because you're too
Here they went on with a tackle on Philip Lee.
So you can't get off him. Yes, you were. No, you weren't.
Sears not all that happy with the decision. Quick tap taken by Langer. Langer wants to attack to the right. Plath is there again. He puts one out the back. Saylor, can he get to the loose ball? He does. Under the attentions of Muir. And now Langer with Webke. Hustles forward to the 40-metre line. The try will get them to the 60. Still shot off for another 10 metres. The Broncos inside the Bears 30. Langer, switch of play close to the ruck with Tallis. Tallis, the bulldozer. Tallis is beaten 4 and taken to ground. Tallis, one of many contenders for man of the match. Across Walters, high ball there for Langer. Fingertip control, back to the bouncing ball. Stays alive with Lockyer. Lockyer away with lead. In fact, it was Walker. looking for Campion. Then Lockyer. Will a try come out of this? 10 metres out from the line. Lockyer on his hands and knees is tackled by Trindle. Last it is. Walters. Then up for Walker, over the shoulder to Smith. All the skills have been on show for Brisbane. And that completes it. 76 minutes, 58 points. And who's to say it hasn't finished yet?
And Darren Smith gets across for this one. Kevin Walters, seeing that there was a chance on the short side. The ball may have rebounded into his hands, but it was just good vision from Kevin Walters. Greg Florimo couldn't make the tackle. The wing was forced in, and in fact, it just hit Darren Smith on the chest.
Very unselfish play from Lee on this occasion. You'll see as the ball's planted down, Lee could have actually, he was over the line himself, basically. He would have fallen and scored. Offering it to teammate Darren Smith, who's had a whale of a game. A very important kick, I think, here. Not so much for the Broncos, probably from North Sydney. 60 points against would be a huge slap in the face. 58 doesn't sound quite as bad, does it?
I think Peter Louis will think it does. And I'm just wondering whether Peter Louis is going to, or what he'll say to his players after this. I don't think they'll need to be told too much. I just hope it's one of those pitches that you have maybe every now and then where it's just difficult to explain. Obviously the first 20 minutes was, as I said earlier, was the telltale time for the North Sydney side. They were out of the game after that period.
Well, Sterlo, it's a situation, isn't it, for coaches? They try and make up their mind on difficult times like this. What's the best thing? Do they go in there? Do they pull the ruler out in the dressing room, or do they just try and sweep it under the carpet and not be reminded of it? But when kicks like this slide straight between the posts, I guess it's a little bit difficult to pretend it didn't happen.
Well, there's the 60. 60-6, 2 remaining.
Well, how good are the skills of this Brisbane Broncos side? It's the men who have come off the bench. Walker, beautiful pass on the outside. And doesn't he deserve a try there, Darren Smith? But Walker and Philip Lee, as I said. And here's the kick. Have a look at this. Is there anything this man can't do today?
And Walker with a 2. Wayne Bennett seen enough. He's happy to let the last 2 minutes go by. And Brisbane. Is it asking for too much to score one more? Webke. It's just been a superb display. Blocker said skills. It has been right across the park. Sivana Siva, the 30-metre line. Wonderful attacking unit, the Brisbane Broncos. With a fair share of possession as well. Gee, it sends out a warning to other sides, though. And that maintains the unbeaten run too here at ANZ Stadium. Not since round 11, 1996, have they been beaten on home soil. Walters, Lockyer, slices through again. Darren Lockyer, up for Darren Smith. 20 metres out for Tallis. Tallis inside for Lockyer. He dumped the pass back. It did come off Ben Eichen, but I'm sure he wasn't playing at the football.
Off red, but not played at North.
It will be a North Sydney feed. Talk about the running game. Brisbane. Next Friday night we'll have Brisbane and Newcastle. Newcastle coming off a big win against Auckland. And Brisbane over North Sydney. What a battle. The Bears just through the motions for the last seconds of this game. In relation to the 30, it's almost a situation, I guess, for Peter Louis that you don't even watch this tape back. Trindle. Almost to the 40-metre line. Countdown applied by the fans. You could say, well, this is going to be the end of the fight. Here's Eichen. He's able to flick it out. Now it is Florimo. Back in for Roy. Roy able to get away from a couple. Now completed. And that ends a superb show of strength, premiership muscle by Brisbane, scoring 11 tries among the fans here today. Test wicketkeeper Ian Healy, 60 points to 6, 11 tries to Brisbane, a couple each to Lockyer, Smith and Saylor. Tallis, Renouf, Carroll, Hancock and Lee all on the scorer sheet. Lockyer landed 7 goals, Walker a goal as well. And an afternoon for the Bears that could be summed up as a catastrophe.